Hello and welcome to another Valorant VOD review. Today we are going to be looking at not what the title says in this video, it's actually Vitality versus Guild of the match that took place yesterday. And we're actually going to be looking at Viper on Breeze and something that I saw on this map that just pained me. Now the players are actually using the old Breeze because obviously very recently came out, and so it hasn't quite gone into the pro scene just yet, the new Breeze with the new changes. But what I will say is that what I'm going to talk about today I still think is very relevant to the new Breeze as well. Whilst I do think the new Breeze is somewhat easier to defend on in general, I don't think that it's going to be easy enough to not warrant what I'm going to talk about right now. And we're going to be looking at Viper as well on this map, which is an agent that really, you should be playing because Viper is by far the superior, I think, controller, and I think everyone is pretty much in agreement on that. So, with that said, let's jump in to this game. So, the first round we are going to look at is 2-0 to Vitality, who are defending, and we are going to focus on Vitality right now. Now, this one, we're just basically going to look at the pre-round as a kind of general point, because I think that Vitality make a mistake. And the main theme of today's video is going to be your retake walls. And by retake walls, I mean walls like the one we see here from Vitality, and we're going to see both teams use these kind of walls, and we're going to focus most of the video on these Viper walls and what they're trying to do. So why is this a retake wall? What is this wall trying to do? Well, essentially what this wall is saying is we know that defending A, particularly on the old Breeze, is very difficult, but still probably is pretty difficult on the new Breeze as well. And so I'm going to put down this retake wall, which means that once you've planted the spike here, we're going to potentially let you plant the spike, but most of you then are probably going to come back here. So what we're going to do then is put up this wall, which means that you'll have no sight on the spike, we'll potentially get a ton of space behind this wall for free, potentially, if you're playing super passive, and that will mean that we have a pretty good, round there going off that wall. This wall is not good for stopping a push, because essentially this wall is turning this smaller choke point in cave into this very long choke point in here, and so this is not going to be very great for stopping any real rush into the site, because there's a ton of different places that the attackers could come from. It does also give you the little bit of cover here, which is quite nice, for either rotating or just defending this area and maybe sneaking out, somewhere here. So it does have other benefits as well, but its main purpose is as a retake wall. So after the tech pause, this is when the round is about to start, and we can see the positions here of the defenders. Now, what is the problem with this Viper wall on A if we're using this setup? Well, the problem is, of course, you've got 4 people here in and around the A site. So why on earth would you ever need a retake wall? If you have 4 people on that side of the map, if you got 4 people defending one site, you shouldn't be trying to retake that site. That should be the site that really you're saying they aren't getting in here. It would make a lot more sense. This poor Cypher over here is on his own, and, is just having to do his own thing over here. It'd be much more sensible if there was a Viper wall here on B. That would make sense if they were playing these positions, because what they're saying there is, we're going to control this side of the map, and if you just so happen to go to the other side of the map, well, then at least, we can play full retake because we have a Viper wall there. But no, instead, they've said, we're going to play this side of the map, and I understand that they do have, limited weapons in comparison to their opponents here because they're on a bonus, but still, you shouldn't have all these players on this side of the map and then also say, and we're going to retake in case we need it. Because what's the likely outcome is, by the time this Viper wall gets any use, maximum, there's probably only going to be Viper and Cypher alive anyway. And, with limited guns as well, it's just not going to be a great strategy, I think. So in this round, my personal opinion would probably be if Brams, who's on Viper, wants to play close to this A site and they're going to have these positions and they didn't think they had enough time to, put up a Viper wall on B site or anything like that. If that was the case, then just save it. Don't use it. Wait. You don't have to always use the Viper wall at the start of the round. And we're going to see the difference. Coldamenta on Guild, who's playing Viper, is going to do that in some of his rounds, whereas Brams always seem to use it, and I feel like this, it just doesn't make logical sense. If you've got 4 people on one site, you aren't going to be retaking that site. You're going to win or lose fighting, dying on that site. And what's potentially even more annoying about this round is they actually find themselves in a 5v3. They actually managed to do really well and find themselves into a 5v3 position, but they don't have a Viper wall to play with. And imagine if they did. If we go back to the map here, imagine if they could. Imagine if this Viper, could put up a Viper wall, along something like this, or along here and maybe cut off the spike. And then this Sky player here is completely isolated. You know, these two maybe can't see the spike all of a sudden. They have no idea who's coming round. Maybe if that Sky dies, it could be an absolute chaos, you know, because as soon as, if this Viper had the wall and put it down, something like that, then this Sova, they instantly start thinking, well, we know there's at least one there. They're probably expecting multiple. And this kind of thing with a 3-man stack push this way would probably work very, very well in this scenario. But they don't have it. And what ends up happening instead is that Guild are going to end up taking this round, as we see here. You know, the flank is all good. Everything is looking pretty nice. They're still in this 5v3. The spike is down. But, you know, they feel like they have a real chance to win this round. Okay, Brams does die there, but, you know, again, he wasn't able to cause any chaos. They're trying to get aggressive towards this player Trex here, and they die, and eventually they are going to lose this round. But the thing is, had they had that Viper Wall, it could have potentially been a lot more dangerous. They were in a 5v3. With that Viper Wall, who knows what happens. Okay, the very next round, we have a Viper retake wall, this time on B site. Now, if I'm being honest with you, I'm not the biggest fan of the placement of this wall. You do get very similar walls in your games and in a lot of pro games. This wall is one that people use. Guild actually used this one along this line here instead. And I think in your rank games, honestly, you could probably get away with this wall. Which is going to be a little more beneficial for you because it actually stops the elbow. Like, you get some cover on elbow as well. So I think that the third wall, the closest in your ranked games, will actually probably be best for you because it's not at the pro level. You don't have to be as sort of passive. People won't really understand what's going on as well. The idea behind these walls are sort of multiple fold, you know, things like silver darts. You can kind of, you know, run in between the wall. Obviously, they offer retake as well. I'm not a massive fan of this, like the furthest back one you can do, because I feel like a smart team could just, you know, if they feel like they have complete control of the site, plant there, and this will, you know, won't necessarily do that much. It won't cut off the spike. It might give you a bit of space, but so do all the others. So I just feel like this is a slightly inferior wall, but that's just my personal opinion. But anyway, that's the setup that we have here on B site, and this again was very common for Brams to do. But as we play this round forward, what you'll see is that basically he was playing for retake. You know, he's playing for this Viper Wall and this retake. He has the orb here in main as well. And so he's happy to give up the site, as you can see. And the spike is just going down now with the Sky. You can see it's just planting here. So all pretty normal. You know, this is what the Viper planned to do. But we're going to see another mistake here that I think that Brams shouldn't have done. Because Brams is going to try and make a play. Now, he does have a Sova drone. If we come to the normal view, you'll definitely see it. So he does have a Sova drone that he's deciding to go back in. The spike has just gone down. But I do still think that this is a mistake. And the reason is because he has the Viper Wall. If you're the Viper playing in this situation, you shouldn't be the one who's trying to push. But as you're going to see, he is going to make that push up. Now, the Cypher dies here if we come back to the normal cam. So one of his teammates dies. But Brams is going to try and make a play. Now, to be fair, I think he does get baited in a bit here, you know, by the fact that his Cypher has just died down there. And so he's going to try and make a play. Actually, based off the other Viper Wall that's about to come in now, this Viper Wall is going to come up and he tries to make a play, but he makes a couple steps. And so he's trying to be aggressive. He's trying to be the aggressive one. If we look at the map, you'll see even more, you know, that the rest of his team are kind of in, you know, they're not too far away, but, you know, they're still kind of getting in position. I think they're still waiting for this KO to get to here. But Brams has gone crazy. You know, he's completely isolated. He just made a step as well. And he's going to pay for it with his life. If we go on to the normal mode, we will see he's going to pay for it with his life. You know, Coldamenta knows that he's somewhere around here, is looking around, and eventually walks into him, and he gets an easy kill. And the problem is, and you're going to see this as the rest of this round plays out, that again, he's dying, but he's got the main bit of utility. See, they get a kill. They get 2 kills, right? All of a sudden, it's a 3v3. They have a real chance of winning this round. And if we take a look at the map, I just want you to imagine if the Viper was still alive. If this wall can go up here, this jet is completely isolated. This jet is like, oh my god, someone help me. And these two are far, far away. If you start tapping the spike and it's covered up by that wall, they're panicking. You know, panic is starting to set in on these guild players all of a sudden. But Brams, it was so frustrating that I feel like he shouldn't have been the one that is trying to make this play. He should always be the one that is just saying, I'm going to be a bit more passive. You know, my utility I know can help us win this round. But instead, he felt like he had to make a play, and he got a bit too aggressive, and he made that step, and I just feel like it was all just not fully calculated, and again it ended up potentially costing them this round. Okay, this round I actually just want to show you a cool attacking Viper wall, and I thought this execute was really, really cool from Guild in general. They're going to send 2 players towards Cave, they're going to send 2 players towards the mid doors, and they're going to send the jet here up towards the tube and through the tube as well. So let's see how they do that, and they do it basically based off this one Viper wall that Cold Dementor is about to throw. Now, I don't know why it comes through so slowly on the map, but it does. But basically this Viper wall here, a really interesting Viper wall. Honestly, I'd never seen this before. Maybe some other teams have run this, but I personally was kind of caught off guard by it. But of course, the idea is it blocks, the vision here towards anyone coming in through the mid doors. But then secondly, it also blocks off the doorway here, the entranceway to the tube. So any defender playing back here won't be able to see if someone is coming all the way up through the tube. And this on the new breeze, I think, will be something that we see more of, because if we run this round through and start watching what happens, we see that this jet gets here very, very quickly, right into the tube. The wall's up, they can't see it, as you can see on this left hand side, and she tries to open the door. Now this isn't possible anymore, this this door closing. Teams kind of figured out, oh well, we'll just keep closing the door, and obviously the devs were like, yeah, that's probably not a great thing to have happen, because this is basically how teams learned to defend on breeze, which is continually shut the door so that this didn't become ever a problem. That won't happen anymore, so this round would probably play out pretty differently. But if we keep running it forward, something weird is about to happen. And I will show you. It's probably easier to see on the map overall. But this Sova and this jet here in tube, they are both in tube, by the way. I had to rewatch this a couple times to make sure. They're actually going to cross each other because of this Viper wall. They're both going to just absolutely go the complete opposite ways of each other. And this jet is going to get a pretty important kill. So the site, they start to come onto the site. You can see there the jet and the Sova cross without ever seeing each other, which is pretty crazy. And so the Sova thinks, well, the jet must have gone back, as you can see, walking back there. And what that allows for, if we come back to the normal view, is the jet is basically going to get this kill for free from behind. Safe just walks in behind. The Sova is like, what? Everyone's like, what? Of course, no one expected that, because the Sova is just pushed down tube. And that basically is going to end up being, in a 2v2, but they are going to close this out, Guild, as the Cypher ult comes in as well. They have information on where they are, so they do end up closing out this round as well. But again, just a really cool Viper wall I thought that I would show you there for potentially a different kind of attack. And I love the way that they attacked this site from 3 different sides, and that proved very chaotic for the defenders. Okay, so moving on a couple rounds here. We are into round number 9. It's currently 6-2 to Guild. And on the map here, you can see that, again, the attackers have taken this B site. This was a very common occurrence in this game. Both teams just seem to hit B a lot, which is quite weird for this map, because obviously normally it's kind of an A map. But what we have seen this time is that Brown's playing Viper decided, I'm going to save the wall this round, and it came in use. Hey, look, he was able to use a wall here for the retake on B, and now his teammates are still pretty far away. So ideally here, if I was, the coach of Vitality, what I would want Brams to do is, just wait here. Again, he has a very important piece of utility right here, and that's gonna again cut off these players. Anyone looking to get a bit more aggressive is going to be cut off from the rest of their teammates, not going to be able to trade out. So I would just be telling Brams, play a bit safer. We're in a 4v4. We can get this retake. We'll be okay. Wait for our teammates. Let's do that. But instead, as we're going to see, Brams is going to get a bit aggressive. He's going to push up. Now, his wall is actually up at this point. You can see it on the normal map mode here that his wall is up. And he's decided to go and push up instead. Now, but then he gets to this point and he actually drops his wall. Now, this actually isn't the worst idea in the world, because as you can see, he catches out Trex here, but he just isn't quite able to find the shot. Very quick movement from Trex to get out as soon as he saw it. He sees the cam as well, but now, of course, all the Guild players know where he is, and now he's in trouble, right? And that, again, that aggressive push, and if we take a look back at the map, his teammates are not in a position to come and help him at all. And this, again, was just the problem. If you're the Viper, you probably, in this situation, want to be the last alive, because your utility is probably going to be the most important for this retake. But instead, Brams again just felt like he had to go and make a play, and again, it's going to end up costing him his life, because they're going to, start just spamming bullets at that wall, because you can do that, and eventually they find the kill on him. And now the other three are in a bad position. Now the other three are in some trouble, because if you think about this, and if we look at the map, let's just assume that Brams was still back here and still alive. Now look at the map. If Brams is still here and is still alive, this Viper wall goes up. This Cypher is in a world of trouble. His teammates cannot help him at all. He's essentially in a 2v1, soon to be a 3v1 from behind. This Cypher would die. All Brams has to do is just stay back here and just live. If you are the Viper, live. Play for retake and live. You are the important one. You cannot be the aggressor. You have to wait for your teammates in that scenario. Okay, and now we're going to look at Guild on defense, and so we'll be focusing on Menta, who's playing Viper instead, and we're going to take a look at what he does. And the first action that he does, standing here on A, is he's going to throw down his orb on a main. But what you're going to see is he's not going to put down his wall. He's going to save his wall. And if we play this round forward and keep it going, and kind of skip through this round a bit more, perhaps, as we see some trades coming out. Eventually, what's going to happen is that Vitality, I almost said Guild, Vitality are going to end up going towards B site, and again, Guild are going to play Retake. As I said, it was a pretty common theme from this game. And so what happens is they're going to get the spike down on this B site, and as you can see, it's a 4v3 at this point. They also have worse weapons as well. This is just after, this is their bonus round, I think, for Guild. So they're in a bonus, they're in a 4v3. It's going to be a difficult situation to ever win this round. But again, if we just skip it forward, we're going to get Menta himself is going to come up here. He's got a Spectre. He's going to come up and he's going to face against Shadow, who has very low health. So actually a Spectre is pretty good in this scenario. And Menta is going to win that fight. All of a sudden, it's a 3v3. And all of a sudden, it becomes pretty possible. And as we keep playing it forward, he's going to pick up the Vandal as well. So all of a sudden you have a chance, a pretty good chance. And he's going to put down this wall that we just saw. We'll go to the map. He's going to put down this wall. Nice retake wall here. Of course, anyone playing back here, the point is, they're not going to be a part of this round. They're going to be shut out till the end. And it basically means that, these players can come out of B main here and basically just focus on their right-hand side, which is a very good thing to have happen, and it's going to help them. Well, it would help them if something doesn't happen, but I think it still puts them into a good situation. So if we go into the normal view here, we can see this is Kata's view. He's the Jet here. He's completely cut out. He doesn't know what's going to happen, and Menta actually finds another kill, as you can see on the Cypher there with that shot, and all of a sudden it's a 3v2 and they have a real chance. Now what is going to happen in this round is Brams here, who I've criticized a few times in this game, he's going to actually find the 3 kills. They were on pretty low health. They did have worse guns. So, fair enough to Brams though. Nice shooting. Did pretty well there. But in general, let's not look at the end result. Let's look at what could have happened. And what could have happened in this situation, in this 3v2 and this Viper wall here, essentially all they had to do was trade this out. Which if they weren't on low health and if they had the same gun power and were on full health, I think that this probably ends up being a round win for Guild, because they probably trade this kill out and then they're in a 2v1 with this Jet not knowing exactly where everyone is, with this Jet being disoriented and having to make a play and only on 24 health himself. Kata here, he's in a lot of trouble. So I think if this was a fair fight, I think probably what ends up happening is Guild win the round. And again, this is just another reason for saving the wall, playing for retake. Menta was making sure that, he was living, he was, last alive for the team, and it made more sense and it worked better for Guild, and in a different situation, they probably come away with the round.